Hey, how are you guys doing today? Welcome to another episode of Fridays Are For Friends. I'm here with an incredible artist, S. Congrats on your latest release, Missing You. Tell us a little bit about that track.
So Missing You, it kind of came at a time where I wasn't doing music as much, and I was really listening to like a lot of the oldies, I guess, the 80s, 70s, 80s music, and I don't know, I heard the beat and I got inspired, and it just kind of flowed out of me, I guess.
Yeah. So when you're writing, what themes or emotions do you see yourself returning to?
It's always love for sure, whether it's, being in love or heartbreak or whatever I'm feeling in that moment. I try not to think too much about it, going into it and just kind of let it happen.
Yeah. And growing up in a place like Detroit with such like a rich musical history,
For
how
sure.
did that shape you as an artist and your sound?
So growing up in Detroit, I grew up in the church. So especially for R&B artists, that's where you get your training, in choir. And I have a lot of musical family members too. So just seeing them and learning from them, I think really helped shape who I am as an artist today, for sure.
Yeah, and you spoke a little bit about choir. So talking about church, like and soul, how did that really, do you think, helped you with performing and storytelling and just like your presence?
Yeah, so I'll always say that R&B and gospel are very similar. I think just what you're actually singing about is the difference, but those harmonies, the melodies, they're all very similar, and I think they borrow from each other a lot. Which is something that I have learned and picked up on. I will say my first time having a solo in church was very, very embarrassing, and I tried not to think about it, but it built character. So,
100%,
yeah.
100%. And you studied film at Georgia State as well as journalism. How does that affect the way you write and just the way you, I guess, create today?
I think sometimes because journalism and film are different from music and sometimes can be a little bit more technical and a little bit more technical than music. Sometimes it gets in the way of my music brain because you want to lean into your creativity as much as possible with music. So sometimes I do have to turn that part of my brain off, but it's all writing, it's all creativity. It's just a different type of creativity, I think.
Yeah, what is it about visuals that you love so much?
I think I just love the colors. I love the angles. I love the movement that the camera can make, or I don't know. I grew up watching movies. I was a real, true life movie buff. Me and my dad, we always went to the theater, and I think music and film just really shaped who I am. I used to write fake plays for my cousins to perform, and I would write my own songs, poetry. So I just always been very creative as a child, and I think that's just kind of manifested itself, with me as an adult.
Yeah, I
So.
feel that. And as you further yourself in the music industry, I guess what is the biggest lesson that you've learned?
Believe in yourself always, because there's going to be people that doubt you, that don't think you're good enough, that don't think you have this or have that. But as long as you continue to keep going and believing that you can do it, it's going to be a yes at some point, And I think that's something I'm still learning because, this industry can be very discouraging, very hard. But I think as long as you have you in your corner, you're good.
Yeah. And how does it feel like now coming back from your hiatus and reinstilling that belief in yourself and come back to music? How does that feel?
Yeah, it's a little, I'm feeling a little nervous, just a little bit, because I'm like, do people still care, But at the same time, I'm like, I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in my art, and it'll find who it needs to find, So I'm excited.
So speaking of that, what is next for S?
So, like I said, I do film, so I'm working on a short film. I've done some acting, a few films that already came out this year, so very proud about that. But as far as music, I am working on an EP. So this is the first song that's going to be on the project. So I'm just excited. Been working with my producer, Brandon Meister, and we've been writing and really working. So I'm excited about
Yeah.
that.
What's the theme of the EP if we can get a sneak peek into it?
I don't know. I think I'm just letting it happen, letting it flow, because too many times I think I've gone into a project with the idea of what I want to do, and it kind of gets in the way of just, immersing myself in the music. So
I feel that. Well, I'm excited for people to listen to you. So where can they
you.
find your music?
You can find me at EYS Music on all platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter.
Amazing. Well,
Yep.
thank you so much for being a part of the
Thank
show.
you so much.
Excited for people to hear your music and find more about you and watch your short films, see all your visuals.
Thank you.
Of course. And thank you to the audience for being here for another episode of Fridays Are for Friends. Peace.